Really good conversation. So, you want to sit for a second?
Yeah, can you sit in this way?
Yeah, you can sit anywhere you like. So let's talk about why the hip flexors are so sensitive and why the underarms are so sensitive for a minute. This is really good for understanding the power of the swing to quickly detoxify the lymphatic system.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, the lymph nodes.
So these are the collection points for the lymph system. And the lymph for most people is very congested and very sensitive, very sore, like a balloon with too much air in it.
Yeah.
And then if you go to press on it, it's like, no, right? But as that starts to drain, which is why people will quickly get like nauseous or dizzy or woozy when they first try to swing, even after 5 minutes, and they think, oh, the swing's not for me. We want to encourage them to give it another try, to really stick with it, because the body will get just a massive benefit from the lymph starting to clear. And then after a while, it actually feels good. I know it's hard to believe right now, but like Rolfing, right, because we're not only do we have the lymph system there, these are parts of the body that are usually congested and contracted. So what we're doing is we're stretching the connective tissue. And as that connective tissue starts to open, it feels like this ripping, burning, tearing sensation, which is uncomfortable for people as well. But after a while, that starts to feel really good. Your body actually starts to release like happy hormones or endorphins when you open that up, because it's freeing up the energy. So even though these parts of the body, these two major hubs that I said that the swing is most suited for, even after doing this like literally every day, probably 14,000 times, it still feels intense for me.
Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Every time it feels intense. But at the same rate, it feels so good, because it's like myofascial. It's so intense in the moment, but as soon as it's done, it feels so much more open, so much more expansive, so much more space. And the body has a freedom, a new sense of freedom. So it does really feel like there's no end to it, especially because it's like the breath. You know, it doesn't like the swing too, it doesn't just keep going, going, going. It's an inhalation and then an exhalation, and another inhalation and another exhalation. So, you know, every time we drive, or every time we sit at the computer, every time we do something that's contracting, then we just want to do something that's expanding again. And the body will immediately tell you if you've gone too far. And we listen to that. We listen to the body say, well, that's enough for today. Right? And it says that through ow. Ow, okay, I've had enough. Like, one of my people were like, oh, this feels bruised, you know, and it's like, that's okay. If it feels that sensitive and that sore, give it a couple days to heal, and then try it again. You know, some people will go with, I don't want to do it anymore, ever again. Well, we want to encourage them that this is actually so powerful and so healing on the body, and just 5 minutes each day, it'll quickly change. So I wouldn't necessarily say that my lymphatic system is calloused at this point, which was the question. It just is stronger and more fluid, and then there's more circulation to those parts of the body.
Resilience.
And the musculature that builds the small muscles, the intrinsic muscles that hold the joints and that like really hold everything in place, as they strengthen, the large muscles can soften. And when the large muscles soften, it feels way better. Okay, really good question. Very nice. Anything else that you guys want to ask or finish with? Just take a few moments for Q&A. So lymph system. Can we talk about the endocrine system? Just take a few minutes to just chat. So I really love this practice, and so you'll see that there's certain things we talk about that I get very passionate about. So everything has to do with the endocrine system. And this is what I found after 20 years of doing healing work, my own healing journey, that the endocrine system overlays the chakra system, and it doesn't matter how much energy work that you do with someone, if their endocrine system is turned off, you can pour energy in, but there's no circuitry, there's no connection. Now, the endocrine system is very well known for being the energy manager of the body. It has the glands that release different hormones into the bloodstream that control our mood, our attitude, our sleep, our energy levels, everything. everything. And the endocrine system is probably the most mysterious from a Western medicine point of view too. I see it as a seesaw. So the heart, this entire practice is a heart-centered, heart-based reality, heart-centered practice. So the heart is the pivot point, like the center of the seesaw, right? And so then we have the lower and the uppers. And so most people will have, like, say, a thyroid condition or some sort of reproductive condition, and then they focus on the symptomatics of that particular endocrine gland. And so if we see it as a seesaw, it's like one's up and one's down. So we want to find that pivot point in the body, and we want to also find the balance along the spine. And so most people that are rounded in like this, you know, they're going to have problems in the upper chakras and in that part of the body. Those that are having lower back problems are going to have problems with the adrenals and whatnot too. So what I have found the most helpful for opening and aligning the spine, of course that is going to help with the nervous system and immune system and the whole connection there, but it particularly is powerful for the lymphatic and endocrine systems. When we turn our body upside down, and when we come into a big supported back bend and open up the front of the spine, it's activating and turning on the endocrine system quicker and more powerful than anything else that I personally found. And I've worked with a lot of different healing modalities, but for me, the endocrine system and the lymphatic system are the two major points of intersect with the swing that are going to create tremendous amount of healing for people. And we'll play more with that and see, because I want you to experience it in your body with that level of awareness that that's what's happening. And then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about when we come into a big back bend, like how you can come into like a full body sweat in a second. Like literally, you'll just... And like I work with people that have very closed down systems, and they have dramatic effects. If you just have a little bit of closure, right, a little bit of opening to gain, then it'll just be a minor effect. But like especially when we go upside down, for me it is like the total happy serum. You know, just immediate joy, immediate upliftment. Like really, we're working with the law of lift, right? Yeah. Immediate upliftment and joy come into my life. So this is how you get happy.
Wonderful.
Okay, great.